and you'll have the video.
For
All right.
sure.
What can I do for you?
Okay, so specifically in relation to sub two hybrid contracts,
Mm-hmm.
I've actually, I think the first one that I reviewed from you was your example that you didn't mean to post. It was like
Okay.
5 pages or so. So that was the copy that I was going off of. However, I've recently seen the one that you've posted, the one that we should be using. It's more concise, about 2 pages or so, if that.
Yep.
And it specifically says, in relation to the mortgage, we assume. However, I thought you said we're not assuming the mortgage, so that is kind of where I'm confused.
No, we're servicing the mortgage payment, but that's the terminology that we have to use when we're talking to title, because title is going off of the instructions in the contract. So when we're
Okay,
writing the contract, we have to use their terminology. Just like when you're writing a contract, you got to use legal terminology instead of the way people actually talk.
I got you. Makes sense. Okay, so when I'm actually speaking with an agent or even direct to seller, should I say assume? We assume the
No,
mortgage
we're
now?
servicing.
Okay, servicing. Okay,
Yeah,
but on the contract it'll say
it'll
okay. I
say
got you.
assume, but that's more for title and escrow.
Okay, okay. That was one that I had. Okay, the next one is I need a better breakdown of the math, if you wouldn't mind. I guess we would be doing a underwriting. But also I don't necessarily have a specific example. I just need to kind of understand like after down payment is given.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm not calculating taxes and fees or something like that. I can give you an example. Hold on. It'll be
Wait,
this
now
is
hold
an
on. Which part are we talking about? We're talking about over here on the seller finance portion. Is this a seller finance deal we're talking about, or sub two?
This would just be in general, but more
Okay.
specifically, it'll be a sub two that I'm, referring to. But they're all the
Okay.
same, so
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. So yeah, we can actually use the numbers that are there. Did you delete them all?
I did.
You did. Okay, no problem. That's okay. That's okay. Just a second. I've screenshotted it. It's okay.
Oh, hold on. I can put them back.
You can.
Okay.
Okay.
It's back for the hybrid.
Cool. Okay. So let's say, okay, 80. Can you go to the next tab, the hybrid tab? Okay. So once everything is pretty much, we've come to the conclusion, okay, purchase price, blah, 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 blah. The down
Mm-hmm.
payment, once that down payment drops, and
Mm-hmm.
I guess I can ask you another question within this one. The down payment drops, and then whatever contract the seller has with the agent, the seller or the agent gets paid from that down payment, correct? That's first.
That's the way it's supposed to go. So the way it's supposed to be in a perfect world,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the purchase price is coming out of the down payment, because essentially, you're right. We didn't sign a contract with the real estate agent. The
Right.
seller did, but we're also taking into consideration. Well, the seller was also expecting to have, $300,000 at closing, not $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
So having to pay a realtor 3%, which is 9 grand out of $10,000. Okay, well now the seller's only left with $1,000. That's why
Exactly.
we'll step in to help pay realtor commissions if need be to make the deal work. But it needs
Oh,
to make sure that the deal works.
oh, I thought it would just go on top. So that's not even why we're really okay. So now I need to give you the numbers that I have.
Okay.
Let me go.
What kind of deal?
This is going to be a hybrid.
All right.
Um, okay, 38, 30, well, 38,363 is the mortgage balance.
38,363.
Yes.
We'll just do 38,000. Okay.
PITI is 683.
What's the total purchase price? How much? What's the total?
340 is what you know, Deal Sniper
Okay.
said.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, what's next?
Interest rate?
Interest rate 4.75.
Not bad. All right. And then what's the down payment?
24,000.
Okay.
So the seller finance amount I have is 277.
Yeah,
what you have? Okay.
I got 278 because I'm rounding up.
Oh, okay.
What's the
Close
rent?
enough. Long term is 2,500. Short term is 26. So it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
And then initially this is where I was giving the realtor the 3,400 for commission.
Six, you said 84. What are they expecting monthly?
I have it down for 600.
Okay. Okay, so far your deal's fantastic. This deal's fantastic. So where your issue is, you thought that the realtor's commission was in there.
Well, okay, I'll say
You
this.
assume it.
The reason why I'm giving the realtor commission is just for them being willing to even work together.
Okay. How much
But
are you giving them?
the 1%, the 3,400.
Oh, well, that's okay.
It is. It works. Everything works. However, I just need to better understand what I'm looking at.
Okay. So
Um,
then this should be what your calculator looks like. This box should be exactly what yours looks like, right?
yes.
Yeah, this deal's fire.
I'm having some trouble because apparently and I mean the seller,
Hmm.
she claims that she's ready to sell, but she's she wants more so close to $290,000 if it was just cash.
Okay.
Um, and the thing is, when it comes to the balloon, she doesn't want to wait 5 years. So even with me saying, "Hey, realtor, I'll give you, I'll let you double in or whatever, 1%,"
Yeah.
there's no motivation because he's never done this before, so he's telling her everything that I'll say, which it flows better when I'm speaking to him because I know what I'm doing. I just get jumbled when I talk to you sometimes, and I don't freaking know why. But anyway, I think it's my nerves. But
Well,
regardless,
I'm chill, so calm down.
I know. But you can hear how I'm talking, right? It's like
Hmm.
everything is rushed. Okay, so let me breathe. Let me breathe. I think it's because you record, to be honest.
Do you want me to turn it off?
We're here now. Just maybe next time we won't do it.
All right.
Um, Okay, so she just wants to, I guess she doesn't want to wait that long for that payment.
Mm-hmm. So do a
And
3-year balloon.
a 3 year, oh my God.
Yeah, just do a 3-year.
Okay, and then recently I've heard that Dallas has kind of made some restrictions as far as renting goes. Have you heard that? Short
Mm-mm.
term Airbnb?
No, but I don't have any properties in Dallas.
You don't. Okay.
No.
Do you think this would affect my
No,
renting?
because you said the whatever you're talking about has to do with short term, right?
Well, if it's Airbnb, it would be short term.
Yeah, well, that's okay because we're basing the deal off long term, which doesn't seem to have any issues right now, right?
Well, right now, but I mean in general, because this is my market.
Yeah, no, I would say go for it because the
Okay.
best way to figure out how your market is doing is to close deals in your market.
Okay. Nice. Okay.
And just so we're on the
Um.
same page, the only reason
Mhm.
why I'm telling you like we can do a 3-year, even though the seller financed amount, the balloon is going to be on the seller financed amount is $278,000, is because your cash
Mhm.
on cash return is 22%.
So it's good enough.
It's good enough to just that's what I was telling you guys before. It's good enough to justify bending some of the rules. So let's look at the numbers the long term way.
Mhm.
So they're financing $278,000, right?
Mhm.
And then they're paying $600 a month for if we do a 3 years, so $600 a month times 12 is $7,200 a year. Let's see, times 3 years, that's 21,000. So $278,000 minus $21,000. So when they get their mortgage, they'll have to get a new mortgage. They'll have to refinance for $257,000. And with current interest rates or being what they are, it should be okay, especially because they're also going to be making. Is this the one that the mortgage is done February of next year?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that 38,000 looked familiar. So February of next year, this $600 payment goes away, right?
Mhm.
So once that goes away, now this thing is bringing in $18,000 a year. and your cash on cash return is 41%.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that definitely justifies them just getting a refinance, because once they refinance it, even if their new payment, because remember, there's no mortgage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they get this 18,000 for the rest of the balloon, until they have to
Mm-hmm.
refi. And then that's going to go away. But even if they get, well, hell, let's look at it. So $257-ish thousand is what they'll, hold on, let's put it in the seller finance for it. So 257,000, even if they get a 6% interest rate, that's $1,540. Okay. And then let's put that here. So this will be their new cash on cash return if they get a
Why
6% interest rate.
why is it now back to the hybrid though instead of seller finance?
Well,
Because
because
if the
this has already got the numbers in it, so I left it here. That's all.
okay,
It's already got the 250, the 27. You know what I mean? And actually, this, well, that doesn't matter. But yeah, so their new cash on cash return at a 6% interest rate with their new monthly payment is still going to be 15.8. And here's another thing: in the next 3 years before they do the balloon, the rents are going to go up. And even if the rents go up $50 a year, so now this is what, 2650? Now look at the cash on cash return.
Nice.
So here's your issue. Here's the issue that you're gonna find: finding someone that sees what I just saw.
Okay.
And it's your job with the disposition material to make sure that they see it. So
Mm-hmm.
you're literally going to spell out exactly what I just said on your disposition, on your dispo mats, your disposition material, your flyer, to market your
Okay.
deal. So you're going to market the deal for $350,000 with a 34,000 or a 40, no, 33, $37,400 down payment,
Mm-hmm.
which is great. This is just an estimate. We don't know because every title company is kind of different. So
Okay.
that's just an estimate. So their actual total entry fee is only 34,000 plus the realtor commission. So
Okay.
$37,400. They'll buy a $350,000 property for that amount. And when they get the property, this was like 684, right?
Yes.
And then this was 600.
Yep.
Okay. So when they get the property, they'll be at a 26% cash on cash return. That doesn't look right. Hold on. Something changed.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I run up on the rent. Current rent's 2,500. Okay. So better. When they get the property, they're already going to be paying $1,284. You see what I'm saying? So when they refinance,
Where'd that come from? 1284.
well, they're going to be paying
Oh,
684 for the mortgage and then 600 for the seller finance.
Gotcha.
So when they refinance it, assuming my number, and again, my numbers are, I'm ballparking it here, and I'm not taking dollars and cents for the end, but they should be refinancing with a new mortgage of $257-ish thousand if they get a decent enough interest rate, because they'll have enough equity in the property, assuming, then they'll go from paying $1,284 a month. They'll drop down after February of next year to getting only paying $600 a month because the mortgage is gone. And then how many months? Okay, so 2.5 years after that, after the rent increase and after all that, then they have to get a mortgage to pay off the seller. They refinance the property. Their new mortgage balance will be about 257 and some change. And their new mortgage payment will go from 1284 down to 600 up to 1540-ish.
Okay.
Does that make sense, what I just said?
No.
Not at all?
No.
Okay. So let's break it down. How do I want to do that? Let's do another one of these. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. So right now, as your deal stands, let me grab the numbers again. So as your deal stands, the buyer, once they buy your deal, for the net, why are you not typing? There we go. Okay, so from now until February is how many months? It's May. It's about to be May. So that's 5. And then we got another 7 months. And then
9.
so 9 months. So for 9 months is going to be paying $1,284 total, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is going to equal a 22% cash on cash return, right?
Okay.
And so I'm going to keep going, and then you tell me when I lose you.
I got you. Yeah, I'm with you for now.
Okay, cool. So come February 2026,
Mm-hmm.
the mortgage is going to disappear, right? Because the mortgage will be paid
Okay.
off.
I got you.
So there's no more mortgage payment. So that $684 of this
Mm-hmm.
1,284 goes away because there's no more mortgage. So
Okay.
that's gonna be gone. So now the buyer only has to pay the seller the $600 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And when they do that, their cash on cash return is going to go to 41%. So I'm going to put it.
Got you.
Okay, so no more mortgage. So now the monthly is only $600, which is the seller financed amount. That's the monthly payment. And the cash on cash return is 41%.
Okay, pause. Question.
Yeah,
If the mortgage falls off, is there a way that we can just increase the monthly payments at that point or no?
we can. Yeah. If
Okay.
but we're not, I wouldn't recommend increasing it unless we get something in return from the seller. So if
Mm.
we're going to increase it, then we want to also increase the balloon. So
Oh,
what balloon are we talking about with her right now?
uh, 5 to 7. But
Five
what
to
you said was
seven.
too long.
It's
Yeah.
it's too long. Okay. So she can have it either or. She can't have both.
Okay.
Either we keep the balloon at 3 years and she'll get $600 a month on the first of every month for 3 years, and then she'll get a check once she gets paid off for the balloon, or we can raise it up. We can raise the monthly payment up once the mortgage goes away, is paid off, from $600 to $1,000, and that's going to be for 5 years.
Okay. So I'm glad we're recording now. Look at that. Okay.
That's that sad luck.
Let's see. 1,000. Okay. Can't have both. Okay. Continue, please.
All right. So February 26th, no more mortgage, and the monthly payment goes to 600, and the cash on cash return goes to 41%. So after the balloon, which this has nothing to do with the seller, by the way.
Okay.
This next part, this has nothing to do with the seller. After the balloon, which will be somewhere around 2028, so 2030, somewhere around 2030, whenever it pencils out and the balloon is due, then the buyer, oops, the buyer will have to refi. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when they refi, they're going to be refinancing at $257,000. That's going to be
Okay.
because that's how much they need to pay off the seller.
Mm-hmm.
There won't be any mortgage to pay off that already be paid off. So they need $257,000 cash to give to the seller at the end of the balloon. So what they're going to do is they're going to do a cash out refi. The refi amount is going to be $257,000. If they get an interest rate of 6%, which there's no way for us to know if the interest rate is going to be better or worse than that, but assuming it's smack in the middle at 6%, then the new monthly payment for the buyer will be, what was it, 1540. Yep, which is what was it? A 15% cash on cash return. And again, this part doesn't really matter it doesn't matter to us, it doesn't matter to you, it doesn't matter to anybody. The only reason why I'm telling you is so that you can articulate this to any potential buyer that you have. because you need to be able to explain why this deal is going to pay out and how.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And there's one part of this where you're going to have to speculate. There's no other way, and that's this part here.
6%.
6%. There's no way to know what the interest rates are going to do. So that's why I put it smack. Could be better than today, could be worse than today. We don't know, but it's 3 years from now. So let's see. Do you understand the breakdown of where the cash on cash is going and why it's fluctuating?
Yes, because the mortgage fell off. Right?
Correct.
Okay.
So the cash on cash return is going to go up because the cash flow is going to go up because the buyer doesn't have to pay $684 for a mortgage anymore. It's paid off.
Okay. Well, I got you there, but then what about, let's say I do give her, she does agree to the 3-year balloon.
Mm-hmm.
I was under the impression that that's when they get paid in full after the balloon.
Yeah.
So what's the whole purpose in refinancing then?
No.
Oh, well,
I'm telling
okay.
you that. I'm telling you what the buyer's going to have to do. That, like I said, that has nothing. Yeah, that third line has nothing to do with the seller. The seller doesn't need to know that. Doesn't care. That's just for you to be able to explain the fluctuation in the cash flow for any potential investor who wants to buy this deal.
If I'm marketing myself. Okay, I got you. Cool. We can move for next, I guess. Next step.
Okay. So what was your next question?
Oh, that was it for that one.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's it.
so well, that wasn't that wasn't as bad as I thought. But I guess now, my worry is because she's like, well, $600. I know that's not high enough. And I'm like, lady, now mind you, I'm not direct to seller. There's a realtor in the middle. It's just, I don't know if it's just not commuting or I don't know what the problem is. So I'm kind of chucking it up as she's not as motivated as she claims to be, but the property has been listed for forever. So the drawback,
like she's good to go. She just is nitpicking.
yeah, I guess. Which is why I asked if I could increase the seller finance amount or the payment at some point. But if I can just knock it down to 3 years, that may be more plausible for her. I'm hoping. But if I do that, then I'm absolutely going to subtract that realtor commission.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you not recommend I do that?
No, give the realtor the commission.
Even with the 3-year balloon?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, the 3-year balloon doesn't change the numbers.
Okay.
At all.
Well, I felt like it would put pressure on the buyer, although it's not my money. That's just my perspective. Okay.
More, but your cash on cash return plus that low entry fee, it's worth it to them.
Okay. Now my next question for this example, if I were to bump it up to 800 per month, because I ran the numbers and it worked, but I don't know if it will work with me making those adjustments. Still good?
I mean, it still works. It's not as good as 22%, but so it was 7,600. Now it's it's $2,400 a year. That's $200 a month.
So I'll focus on one thing at a time. I'll see if she's interested in the 3-year, and if not, what did you say? I'm sorry.
Split the difference.
Okay.
700.
Split the difference. 700. Okay.
Yeah. So I tried to do 8 and just let them know, let everyone know. Look, I would love to give you everything that you want, but I'm trying to make sure the deal is attractive so my investors buy it. Otherwise, we're just wasting our time. Your property's already been sitting on market for X amount of days. And the last thing I want to do is waste my time or yours. So if you can find a happy medium in between what would make you the absolute kid over the moon happy and something that's going to keep my investors still interested in paying this money for the deal, then I think we can make it work.
Okay.
Just explain it. Just tell them the truth.
I got you. Let me see here. My next question is not going to be about, yes, it is about this. Can I give you the address? Because I need you to see the property. I don't think it needs much rehab, but it may, especially going off the numbers that we just came up with. I don't want to go back and kind of revisit this offer if I need to come down that 80% that you've been talking about in the group.
Well, no, 80% is if it needs repair, not renovation. So what I mean by that is if you can move into it, everyone can move into it. And like it needs to be cleaned. I'm not talking about that. If it needs to be cleaned, you have to change the numbers. You can do Deal Snipers numbers. If it needs to be painted, you can do Deal Snipers numbers. If it needs new carpet, you can still do Deal Snipers numbers. If it needs foundation work, the kitchen's falling apart, the plumbing doesn't work, and they cooked meth in the basement, then no, yeah, you can't do Deal Snipers numbers. So if it's livable, like you can, like, yeah, someone could, if we cleaned it up, like got some, some Windex or some bleach or whatever, cleaned it up, or even hired a professional and had that place clean, could we move someone in there with a clear conscience? If the answer is yes, then you can do Deal Snipers numbers. If there's something in the property that's broken, that's different.
Okay, so no, then that's really good. Okay, I'll say this: the roof off to the side, there's a satellite dish, of course. But I don't know if that would be the siding because it's not the siding of the house, but it's not the roof either. I don't know what to call that little piece. It's at the tippy top corner and it's kind of detached a little bit, but that's the only side where I see a problem. I'm not
Oh,
sure if that would be
yeah, that's weird. That shouldn't be that big of a deal. I would still say you
okay.
can still do Deal Snipers numbers. Maybe you can do $5,000 less if you want to.
Okay. And then just two more questions.
Okay.
When does the deed get transferred exactly? Okay, so if there is a mortgage like this situation here, let's say 3 years, the balloon, well, it doesn't even matter. When does the deed get transferred from the seller to the buyer?
At closing.
At closing. So literally the same day, not after the balloon, none of that. At closing.
Well, for the deed, yeah.
Okay. Okay. At closing. Okay. And again, the reason why I was confused was because of that screenshot that I sent, because Google said something else. I mean, I use Google and I use Chat GPT, but sometimes they don't align with your experience. That's why I prefer, your feedback.
Yeah, usually the only time the deed doesn't transfer is like on a land contract or a wrap,
Okay.
which is basically a lease to own.
Okay. Yeah, that's none of my concern. I'm not even worried about that right now. Okay. And then I asked you the last question already as far as the restrictions go. So I think I'm good. That's good. I'm good right now. So I don't have to say anything about refinancing. Just nope. We're just gonna here's the next offer. I've made some adjustments. If the 3 year balloon is more attractive to her, then let's go ahead and sign and move forward.
There
Type
you
thing.
go.
Okay. Okay. Well, thanks, Sean.
Not a problem. Was that it? That was all you needed?
That was all I needed.
All right, cool. Well, let me know if you need anything else. I'll be in the Discord.
I got this. Thank you. Have a good one.
You too. Talk to you later.
All right.